Hello and welcome to Mystery Made Known, primers about all things Jesus and the Gospel. In this video, we're going to consider how open or closed we are to the voice of God, whether the tribe or tribes we identify with are open enough to listen to hear God through the outsider's voice. I think it's fair to say that human beings are basically tribal in nature. It's certainly true of what archaeology reveals about our earliest beginnings, and still it's pretty obvious in the isolated and so-called less developed communities on our planet. But some may say that humanity has largely evolved beyond such primitive ways of relating to one another. But a soccer match or an ice hockey tournament is enough to reveal that tribalism is alive and well and brooding under the surface of our so-called sophisticated lives. How we relate to one another is what tribalism is really all about. It is the product of one of the most potent and basic human longings, the need to belong, the need to be accepted, and the desire for clear identity. My purpose here isn't to criticize these positive sides of all this. No, what I would like to reflect upon is the potential negative side. That situation where the tribal group dynamic becomes so strong that it leads to indiscriminate rejection of those who are different, those who aren't members of the tribe. Of course, this finds its full unmasked expression in the obvious evil of genocide. But while mercifully we may not personally be faced with such extremes, we may on the other hand face and even unwittingly collude with more subtle forms of tribal prejudice. It can be found in the playground or the college refectory, the weekly coffee morning, in the local tiddlywinks or film club. It can be in the office or on the shop floor, in the sports club or in the local church. It is wherever a group identity and opinion has formed that excludes and cold shoulders others, cold shoulders the outsider. Of course, if you want to see tribalism in all of its intensity, you need look no further than the Bible itself. In fact, tribalism is presented as the great human problem. What is referred to as the fall of the human race is the choice of humans to decide what's right and wrong rather than listen to the Creator God. This results in unnatural division and separation between humans and the natural world, and fatally between humanity and God. The ancient plan that is laid out in the Bible is to reunite humanity with itself, with creation, by reuniting humanity with God. For sure, God uses human tribalism and all of its intensity to bring this all about, but he regularly uses the voice of the outsider to steer and guide the tribe. He often speaks through the foreigner, through the rejected prophet, through those the tribe rejects. A good example of this is a mysterious character called Melchizedek. In the Bible, he pops up out of nowhere, then, but for one brief mention, is unheard of again for thousands of years, that is until Jesus comes. He was the king of Salem, that's ancient Jerusalem, and a priest of El Elyon, to you and me, that is the Most High God. Where he comes from, how he knows about God, let alone how he becomes God's official priest, is a total mystery. God's formal priesthood for worship wouldn't be established for another 500 years. At this point in the Bible, we think that Abraham and his family are the only ones God is working with. But this clearly cautions us not to be so narrow-minded. In fact, it's the mystery of this Melchizedek that is the whole point. It is this outsider without conventional heritage that helps us understand what Jesus and the gospel is all about. So after thousands of years of silence about him, this Melchizedek suddenly appears in the Bible to explain something crucial about who Jesus is. This is what is written. First, the name Melchizedek means King of Righteousness. Then also, King of Salem means King of Peace. Without father or mother, without genealogy, without beginning of days or end of life, resembling the Son of God, that means Jesus, he remains a priest forever. This New Testament passage found in the letter to the Hebrews reveals that Jesus is both God's king and priest in the same manner as Melchizedek, functioning outside of the accepted tribal rules and boundaries of God. Jesus was discriminated against and rejected by the tribal leaders of Israel because he spoke out against their tribal rules and protocols. This led to his persecution and inevitable crucifixion, execution as an outsider. But Jesus is God's decisive voice and final word for the human race. It is through the voice and actions of Jesus, the outsider, that the human race is reunited with itself, reunited with the creation, and all through being reunited with the Creator God. Listen to how this passage puts it. So in Christ Jesus, you are all children of God through faith. For all of you who were baptized into Christ have clothed yourselves with Christ. There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. If you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So then, this is the final verdict on all discriminatory tribalism, all prejudice, whether brutal and obvious or subtle and cliquey. Jesus has brought an end to it all, united all together in himself, one new tribe, one new humanity. So for all of the real blessings of belonging and acceptance and identity that tribalism may offer, it has one fatal flaw. If it fails to listen to the outsider's voice, if it fails to listen to those who think differently, see things differently, those who do things differently, if it fails to listen to them, it will not learn and so will not flourish and grow. It will not adapt to the inevitable change that time brings. This would be true of any group of people that has gathered itself around a particular activity, cause or interest, and history confirms that this especially is true of the church. If the group or tribe doesn't apply a discerning ear to listen to the outsider's voice, if it doesn't permit fresh streams, fresh perspectives, fresh understanding to flow inwards, it will become stagnant and die. So what tribe or tribes have you given yourself to? Where have you sought belonging, acceptance and identity? Whether in the workplace, local community, interest group or local church, how open is your tribe or tribes to the outsider's voice? Remember the principle revealed in and through this mysterious Melchizedek. God speaks in unexpected ways through unexpected sources. Are we open-hearted enough, humble enough, wise enough, brave enough and discerning enough to hear his transformational and life-giving voice? And of course, all this is especially true at times of great change and upheaval or crisis, such as the pandemic, an opportunity to reevaluate and hear the voice of God afresh. So I pray that you will be able to discern how tribalism is at play in your own life. I pray that you will be able to discern where it may be exclusive and prejudicial. I pray that you will be able to hear the voice of the outsider. I pray that you will hear the voice of Jesus.